Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from episode 42 of Life on the Rocks with your host, Connor Rocques. Today's featured guest in the hot seat is my good friend, Helga. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. For anyone in the city who doesn't know Helga, she is a professional photographer with her own business and brand, Helga Photography. So the first question I want to ask you today, what got you started in business?
What got me started in business? Well, It's been very long. I got a camera when I was 16 years old, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I'm not going to tell how old I am.
For sure.
But I started photography school back in Hungary, where I'm from, right after high school. So that's probably been 20 years.
No kidding.
And when I immigrated to Canada, I worked for a couple of photographers as, assistant and going around. And when I moved to Edmonton, I said, screw that. I want to get my own business. So 11 years this April, I opened up. Yeah.
How difficult do you find having your own business?
It is difficult because you rely on your own self to make your own money. But it's rewarding.
It really is, yeah.
Right? Because, for me, if you do what you love, you never work.
Exactly. No,
right?
You're right.
I mean, of course, there are some part of the business that, personally, I really don't like.
Yeah.
But you have to do it.
That's always part of it. I think that's the hardest thing for most people to get over is the fact that there's going to be a lot of time you do not want to do a lot of different things. As a photographer, so you said, so now you've been on your own for 10 years or 11 years?
Yeah, 11 this April.
You just opened up a studio. I mean, how great of a feeling was that?
It was good. It was really scary because I didn't have a backup. I
No
didn't
kidding.
have a full-time job and then do this as a hobby, right? I went to the bank. No, actually, I went to a business school. It was called micro business.
Okay.
So kind of they teach the people how to manage accounting, how to write the business plan, and all these different things. So when we were done with the business school, they were able to help us to get a loan.
Oh,
so
that's
I
great.
picked up a loan, and I drove to Calgary. I picked up a bunch of camera equipment, and there we go.
And then you started business. What's the hardest part do you find for yourself for running a business, especially being in such a competitive market?
It's very competitive.
Definitely competitive, yeah.
Yes. I guess when I started, I was very new to it. So to look for clients, you have to go and hustle and get people to book you. So it's not, in the beginning, it wasn't what I really dreamed of doing, right? I had to do things that I was like, well, I'm doing this daycare. It's not my favorite job, but it brings me money. I can pay my rent.
Until you can kind of go cross over. Because I figure, especially how was it for you guys? Especially as a photographer, people that are in film as well. I mean, that now we have phones that are coming out that are such high technology. How do you battle against that? When the market all of a sudden answers with a phone, you have to have different services. How does that work? I'm just curious. What was going through your head when all of a sudden you get a camera that's top end off your phone? It's
Well, I think with photography, it's not the equipment that makes a photographer. Because I can give you my camera that costs $5,000. Are you going to take the same picture as I will?
Probably not.
Most likely not, right?
Yeah.
So even when you're a hairdresser, it's just because you have a scissor, you're not going to be a hairstylist, right? So I think that's really differentiate people from just,
amateurs.
Being an amateur and, I have a camera and I'm a photographer, instead of having someone that learned a trade. I've been to school for 2 years.
Definitely, yeah.
When I went to school, we learned black and white, the film. I learned on film cameras. We had no digitals back then.
No kidding,
We had no Photoshop or anything. So I was hand retouching and the darkroom and all that stuff that I miss.
Yeah.
But these days it's all digital, so everybody can buy a camera and then I take 500 pictures and hopefully one will be
one good
great.
one. Exactly, yeah.
But it is hard, and I think it's getting harder and harder for photographers to kind of, establish them or differentiate themselves. You have to be good and persistent.
What's it take to, because this is one of the things, I take crappy photos, I'm not going to lie. Get my girlfriend to take them, but What's it take to have like a good photo? Like what is it the angling, or is it just the way you set it up? Like a certain pose? Like how do you kind of when you're doing or directing that kind of stuff? Like what do you look for specifically?
Well, it's different with everything because what if for landscape? I'm not a landscape photographer, but you have to look for the light, the angle, as you said, and like the rule of thirds and all these different things. When I photograph mostly people.
Okay, yeah.
90% of the time it's people and then some animals.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a little percentage of landscape.
Yeah.
But for me and what I hear from my clients as a feedback, I give a lot of directions. So there is a couple of different types of photographers. A lot of them do lifestyle.
Yeah.
So they just kind of follow you around and then they click pictures.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like
not
I'm not. I don't know, it's just not my style. My style is more that I can direct you, move your head this way, chin out, chin down, up, down, so you know what to do. Because most of the people that I found, I pick up my big camera, and then they're like, oh, what do I do now? It's like, well, it's like a very little percentage of the population that is like, oh yeah, camera, that's pose, right?
No, for sure.
Like, who owns that? I don't like it. But I know how to pose, so that I help the clients to feel at ease and move the way they should be.
So your specific genre, or your specific, like, so it's not landscape, so it's just people setting up, so you do lots of headshots.
It's I kind of call myself a portrait artist.
Portrait artist, okay.
Because I photograph people from birth
to the end. Wow, no.
But right now I'm really concentrating on the business side of things. Lots of business headshots and personal branding is one of the things that I really enjoy lately. For ladies like, let's say 40 and up, very popular is the glamour.
Definitely.
Or generational images. And also my very favorite that it's really close to my heart is birth and newborn.
No kidding, yeah, no, I've seen you have some exceptional reviews on your Facebook page. I didn't see any bad reviews, and I mean they're all 5 stars, so you can obviously see you do a great job. I want to ask you, so in terms of marketing, right? Like what are some of the things you're utilizing? Like obviously you take great photos, you're on Instagram, Facebook. Like what are some of the things you use in marketing to try to put yourself out there and distinguish yourself? Like if you're an amateur too, like not you, but if someone's an amateur and they're trying to get out, like how do you build that clientele, start for free, kind of work through?
I'm in that phase right now because we just moved here 2 years ago. So it's really new business. I've been in business for 11 years, but 9 of that was in Edmonton. And before we moved, like the last 5 years before we moved, I literally didn't do any marketing or advertising because all the clients that I have been working with, it was just constant word of mouth.
That's great, yeah.
So I really didn't put much effort into my advertising.
Yeah.
And then we moved, and I'm like, back to basic.
Exactly, yeah.
Back to the beginning. Not portfolio building, obviously I don't need to do that, but client building it's hard.
No, absolutely. And what I wanted to ask you, it's important too, because obviously in this type of industry, networking and everything, right?
Yes.
You got to know everybody. Like, how do you beat out? Like, and I'm trying to get the strategy behind it, like to beat out some of your competition. So if you're going in, it's like I have 2 photographers here, where they're both, we don't know each other, right? They don't know the client. Like, how do you go in there and kind of build that relationship to get them to the point of buying or choosing you?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that the competition needs to be beaten out. Like, if you don't have competition, you don't have the drive.
That's right, yeah, totally.
Right? There is a lot of photographers in the city that are exceptional. Like, they're very good. But there is so many people. So it's kind of like my style is not going to be the same as the others or the third, right? So when it comes to clients, and a lot of time, I get a phone call or someone emails me and say, hey, how much do you charge for a newborn pictures? Well, have you seen my pictures yet? Oh, no, I'm just price shopping. Well, if you're coming from the point of price shopping, then I might not be your photographer.
Definitely.
Because if you want me to be your photographer, I want you to love my job. I want you to love what I can do for you, and then it doesn't really matter how much it costs, right?
No, exactly. It's the quality aspect. I think that's what people are always looking for. You know, depending on whatever sales or whatever you're in, they're always looking for the bargain. But you're not always going to get the quality all of a sudden, you know? I know. They might as well just be taking the photos off my phone, right? Like a lot of times you want crappy photos.
Or go to like a big store chain photographer, you know, shop.
No, exactly.
They can get the bargain price there, but they're not going to get the same quality.
No, absolutely.
From someone that is you know, educated and being in business for so many years.
No, definitely. Something I want to talk to you about, it's really important, is I call it immigrant hustle. You know, being an immigrant coming, you know, to Canada, how does that, like, I look at that as an advantage in a lot of ways. Like, obviously some people could argue otherwise, but I think, you know, you always see a lot of these high-end entrepreneurs that come in from an immigrant background, and it kind of pushes them more so. Like, talk about that for a second. Being an immigrant, coming across into Canada, building up your reputation, brand.
To be honest, for me it was good and bad. It's an interesting story. The first time I started working for a photographer, I don't know if I can say this in live, but he hired me because he loved my accent and my behind.
Oh.
So, and then it was almost 2 years relationship with him where I really felt that I was pushed down because I was an immigrant, and he constantly was telling me that you are not worthy, you just came to this country, you don't speak good English, you're not worth more than $7 an hour.
Yeah,
right? So when I had enough and he didn't pay me out, I did have to go take him to court, and I won.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know if every immigrant is the same or not, but it's different because you don't speak the language. I didn't speak English when I came 18 years ago.
Wow.
You don't know anyone. You don't know the ins and outs of business or whatever, but I think it's, for me it was good because I ended up where I ended up, and
yeah, no kidding.
I love it.
And this was always your passion, like you said. You had a camera at a young age, like this. You knew you wanted to be a photographer.
Yeah.
Is that how it worked? And like obviously, you see a lot of people now in society, right? They don't go after the passion; they're going after the money because like, that's the safe route. Well, would you encourage people to go after their passion if at first it's not going to pay you? Like, how do you feel about that? That's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Yeah.
Because as I said just before, I think if you do what you love doing, you never work in your life.
No, you're right.
Right? So even if you don't make as much money in the beginning, you can still, pass by and get a second job or whatever. But I think pursuing your passion is important.
Yeah, I think it is super important. I think a lot of people lose it too, in the sense, and then you get to a certain age and you can't make the transition.
No, you can't anymore. No, my best friend from Edmonton, she said she wanted to be a photographer. And I'm like, so why didn't you pursue it? And she's like, my father said that photography is not a job. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
You go and study. So she became a nurse. So now she's been a nurse for 20 years, right? And I mean, she loved photography. She bought a camera, but she never sees it as a business. And in that sense, she never could really see me as like, that you're doing a business, but my dad said it's not a business. You can't live off of it. I'm like, well, I'm the living example.
Absolutely.
That I live off of it.
There's so many people too that are going out, and I think that's one of the things with this, this new time, I guess you can say, is that more people have got to realize that you can kind of create your own job. Like, we're going to be losing jobs like crazy. So, well, what's the solution? I always say, create your own job. And in your instance, I mean, you have so many different avenues you can go. Like, if you're focusing on the personal branding aspect of it, and then you're doing good work, and then you can all of a sudden open up into another market. And I think I find it interesting, especially as an immigrant, because like you said, it's in my eyes, sometimes I see it as almost an advantage in the sense of your hustle. But then a disadvantage, you got to build the relationships, get the client base. You know what I mean? So that's a difficult part of it.
But I think it's, I don't know, like I'm coming from Hungary, and I know Hungarians usually have a very high work ethic.
And good food.
And good food.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, but so for me it was normal that I just have to make it work. Like I don't have parents here. I had nobody here to go and cry for to pay my rent.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like if I had to do it.
Exactly.
It's make it or break it. If I don't make any money, I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna eat.
Like,
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no. Or how hard is it too now? Like you're juggling your business and as well as you have kids as well, right?
I have two, yeah.
And how hard is that to like kind of incorporate everything together? Like, you know what I mean? Obviously you got to flex your time. I'm over here.
Well, thank God I have a very supportive husband. Very supportive husband.
That's great,
so
yeah.
that's good. Like we moved back here because of his family.
Okay.
Him. He grew up here, and my criteria to moving to Sudbury from Edmonton, which I love Edmonton, I told him that if I ever move here, I want to have a dream studio.
Exactly, yeah.
So then we built a dream studio.
Yeah.
And it's been good because the space we created, I love.
Definitely. Yeah.
The kids are in school, so I have time. Freedom. And the business scene in Sudbury is very different than what I experienced in Edmonton. And I love it.
That's great,
cool.
yeah.
I find it really like supportive, like with different businesses, but they kind of like supporting each other and like refer to each other, yeah.
That actually is huge too. I was going to ask you about that, especially coming in because obviously Edmonton's a lot bigger than Sudbury, and then you're coming in here, and then we do have kind of a good network of people. And, and the good thing is you do good work, so then people are going to refer people over to you to kind of help bring you up. To close this off, I have an important question. I always ask people this. I come from a sales background, I studied law, and I always ask, like, how do you feel about the sales aspect of it? So, like, obviously your job entails some type of sales where you got to go out and fish for clients. And being that sales has some type of a stigma associated, like you're like, oh, I'm selling, and they get icky with it. How do you feel about selling and stuff like that, getting out there and selling? How do you feel?
Well, in my studio, in my business, the only way you're gonna get your pictures if you come back and meet me after. So when you come back and meet me after, I have a big screen TV, and we go through every single pictures together. And then I can show you all the different albums and canvases and all the stuff that I offer, right? So it's right there, you can touch. And although I'm not a salesperson, but because I believe in my work and the quality of it, it's easier for me to
showcase and say
showcase it, yeah. And I mean, I can help you to figure out what you really need. And then, like, families comes in with little babies, right? And then they're like, oh, I just want digital pictures. No, you don't.
Yeah, you want something.
What do you want? You're gonna put it on Facebook and like for what? You know?
Yeah.
What do you want from it? Yes, I guess you should have an album because this you can hand it down to your child when they get out of the house or when you die, right?
No, exactly.
Like you have to think of that. What is the legacy that
true.
you are leaving to your children after you pass?
Well, especially when artificial intelligence takes over. Then there is no, not kidding, that won't happen. But no, you're right. I think that's great.
Right?
Like, it's nice to walk into your room and then you have a photo of your kid.
On the wall or something. Like I really believe, like, these days, everybody is just throwing their pictures up on Facebook.
Yeah.
And like our kids, like my children, maybe they're exceptional, but like mine are 5 and 7, and we don't really like to let them go online, and they don't play video games and stuff. So the only way they really can see the pictures is either scrolling through my phone or go to Facebook and look at it, right? So I make sure that we constantly printing out everything. Right,
like
so we have a big wall with different family pictures on it, so they can see it, because otherwise they can't. And then we have piles of albums from different things.
No kidding, yeah. Do you print all your own photos, like, or do you have to go bring them into a certain place? Like, is there
there is no professional printing lab in Sudbury.
Yeah, I was wondering how that works.
No, I have been using a Pro Lab in Edmonton since I've been in business. So they print my prints, and then albums. I have albums that comes from Portugal. And the canvases usually come from the United States.
Okay, that's great. No, I was wondering how that all works. So, last question I'm going to ask you. What can we expect next from you? Just growing your business in the city of Sudbury?
Well, I like being involved with communities, right? And in October, we just did a project for the Mother of an Angel. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah,
we printed calendars, and so that was kind of like a fundraising project, which didn't start at that way, but then it ended up a fundraising for Butterfly Days organization. And now I'm gonna work with the Angels of Hope Against Human Trafficking.
Oh, wow.
We are, she's doing the documentary, and I'm gonna be doing the campaign pictures, so billboards and all these different stuff. I do like to be involved in these things because first of all, it's creative. Like I can do something that not like not like a paid job, but it gives me a little bit more creative freedom.
Definitely.
And then it goes in different places where people can know me. I think for me it's really important for getting my name out. Definitely. Because I'm not from here.
Absolutely.
So when my competition, they grow up here and they have their friends and family and cousins and high school and
everybody,
people know them.
Definitely, yeah.
So they have a lot of followers, but for me it's harder because as a new person to the city, I kind of have to
absolutely
also to find people to know me.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I must say though, you have done an exceptional job, even by the reviews. I always do some track record on everybody I bring in, and I said like you had all 5 stars, like through the roof. So where can we find you? So I tagged you in the video here.
Yeah.
So Helga Heimer.
So you can find me on my website, helgaphotography.com.
Okay.
Or Facebook is Helga Heimer Photography Sudbury, Ontario. I think that's how it is, but I mean it's not a very common name.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And then you have an Instagram as well?
I have Instagram, and that's same thing, Helga Heimer Photography.
Awesome. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Get your pictures taken. Seriously.
And like her page.
Like her page, get her pictures taken.
And follow it.
I'm not next, don't worry.
Cool.